Yeah, we bring reviews of your house, talk to our dudes of your house. I bring my views of your house, wrestling truths of your house. We talk to you in your house, we keeps it cool in your house, we keeps it cool in your house. I'm spitting truths in your house. Yes, Mark's hating on his fans, Becky's niche on the man. Play with two like alliance, household a dangerous alliance. I am a nightmare like Cody, and I'm overcoming like Kobe. No, they cannot hold me. Come listen, I'm hosting, critiquing, I'm boasting. This wrestling I'm knowing.
It's all about podcasts these days.
My name is Brian Pillman Jr., and you're listening to the In Your House podcast. This is Austin Theory of Evolve, and you're listening to the In Your House podcast.
This is AEW's Darby Allin, and you're listening to In Your House podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to In Your House, starring Alakan House and my man Michael Hutchison. That's Mikey Hutch. This is the People's Podcast. Hey guys, you already know what it is. It's your boys, Con and Hutch, ready to get at work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. That is what we do, and hey, we love it. So let me let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's alright. We're on Google Play. Anywhere that you guys are, we can get to you. And ooh, where is the clock? I'm checking the time because last time that I checked, In Your House was the hottest professional wrestling podcast in the Midwest, because we hit them with that work, round the clock. You guys already know what it is. Oh yes, the director's in the building. Me and Hutch about to kill him. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Just sitting here chilling on a lazy Sunday morning.
Yeah, man.
Been playing some video games, catching up and getting on this new Twitter thing that all the kids are talking about nowadays, man. Apparently, the app that I had on for Twitter was very archaic, as it were.
Yeah.
And, Drake made it a point to point it out to me that my Twitter app was just tired as fuck. And I had to update it. And I did. And the new app that I'm using now is sleek as hell. And I actually damn near live tweeted NXT Takeover last night. And what a hell of a show that was.
Oh,
my
yes.
God.
Yes,
But yes, going back to your original inquiry, I'm doing fantastic. And we're not alone, are we?
No, we are not. We are not. Actually, if you guys out there in the listening audience, that household, the 14 different countries across these great United States and locally right here in Indiana, 22,000 strong on the Facebook page. As you guys know, we have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/inyourhouse, and we have different tiers. One of the tiers is a tier where we will actually bring you on the show and talk about whatever that you want to talk about, and that is a perfect way to segue into saying that we actually have one of our Patreon members on the show today, and a really close personal friend of mine, and that's my buddy Lou. How you doing, bro?
What's going on, brother? How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Of course, everybody in our little circle, Lou, knows you as the notorious and evil Sam Jones. My God, bro. Yes.
Yes. some good times with that name. Yes.
Yes, man. Yeah. Oh, man. We had so much fun doing that, and then just the pure evil that you brought, man. It was fun time. So how are you doing today, man?
Not bad, brother. Sunday morning, getting ready for some football. getting over what was a really good night of wrestling last night.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. And what he's talking about, guys, is NXT Takeover WarGames in Chicago, and we definitely want to break that down and talk about it. And I'm happy to have Lou on talking about it, because we were actually texting a little bit back and forth last night over the show, and we came together and realized that we wanted to talk about it today, and it's great to finally get you on, man. And I gotta say, starting off with that WarGames match last night between Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, Kaylee Ray, going up against Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Mia. Well, it was supposed to be Mia Yim, but it ended up being a replacement, who ended up being Dakota Kai, and we'll talk about what happened there, and Tegan Knox. So we'll start off with Lou here, man. When you saw that Mia Yim had been hurt or attacked by an unidentified assailant, and they were looking to replace it, and they were looking to replace her, and they replaced her with Dakota Kai, what was your reaction to that? What were you thinking in that moment when you saw that happening?
You know what? I'm going to tell you. I turned it on just as they were doing the entrance for everyone, and it didn't even dawn on me right away that Mia Yim wasn't in it.
Okay.
But it actually took me until Dakota Kai came out. I was like, wait, hold on. What did I miss? And I actually had to go on the internet and see that Mia Yim was quote unquote attacked.
Yeah.
Now, part of me was like, oh, maybe she wasn't cleared to wrestle after that ladder spot on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because she didn't do anything on Friday. So I'm like, all right, maybe they're just kind of the way of writing her off without her doing anything. I'm cool with that. No problem. I didn't really think anything of it, man. And we'll talk about it in a little while, what happened later on. But it threw me for a loop. I didn't see it coming.
Oh man, I mean, what ended up happening? I didn't see that coming either. So Hutch, when you saw that they were being replaced, me and you had a little dialogue about it on the group chat and what we thought about it. Will you go ahead and jump in there and think of, and just throw in there, what was you thinking about the replacement and the way that they arranged the replacement?
Well, the way they did it, I was okay with it. I mean, it made sense in the grand scheme of things, seeing as how, Dakota was just like, initially was going to be in it, but then they were like, nah, it's not going to quite work out, yada, yada, yada. And I think they could have did more with Mia Yim. I think we kind of mentioned that in the dialogue that you alluded to.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, it worked, and the payoff that came later made it all worth it. It was... I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I really like that a lot. And I really like this match. I know, going on a previous episode, I said that it felt like they were just having this women's war game match just to have it, and I still feel that way. But the match and the effort that everybody put in, my God, it was great, and there was great stories that was built off of it. There were stars made last night in Rhea Ripley. Like that woman, I mean, just exudes badassery. I mean, she's there's very few women in, I mean, the NXT women's roster stacked anyway. Yeah. But there's very few women that actually had that look like they will beat your ass. And there's two women that come to mind right now that have that look. That's Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler.
Facts.
Those two look like they would beat your ass and take your wallet and laugh at you.
It's funny to that dramatic picture of you doing that.
Right. Man, right. I gotta say.
I mean, honestly, on Friday night after the women's match, she was on top of the entrance ramp making faces. So I can easily see her stealing your wallet and laughing at you.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, with that same look. Exactly, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That look is terrifying. I would not want to be on the receiving end of it.
And what are you going to do about it? Not a damn thing.
Not. You just go sit there and take it.
For real. So going back to Mia Yim, I did have my hang-ups with it. I really feel like
I mean, this might be just me, but I feel like if she was able to walk into the ambulance on her, on her own accord, that she could have been in the match. I don't know. I don't think the beatdown warranted for her being taken out of the match, and I suggested maybe a tad bit of color or maybe just stretching her off or something, because it felt like she still had somewhat of her wits about her, that if she would have went out there and maybe shook it off while she was in the cage, maybe she still could have participated. But let's move on to why that happened and what led to it. And it's an elephant in the room. We have to talk about it. And that's Dakota Kai, you guys. Man, what I saw was absolutely amazing. I mean, such an amazing way to turn her. And I'm gonna go ahead and let Lou talk about it a little bit. What did you think about that turn from Dakota Kai, bro?
You know what? I feel like I think we're all on the same page when I say this, that we both watch wrestling enough that we can see when a heel turn coming, and I don't think anyone saw that heel turn coming. There was a moment there where I had something's a little off, just the way she stood at the top of the ramp.
Yeah. But
it didn't click, and then when she turned around and she just, I mean, I was like, I can't believe. Okay, all right, I definitely got another hill, because my favorite part about it, and we'll get back to Dakota, my favorite part about it was Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler enjoying herself in that cage while everything had happened, I thought was hilarious.
Yes, me too.
Like, she was just having a ball watching her. I thought, this is funny. Like, I didn't even have to do anything. You're doing it on your own. But the way they turned it, and the way she pushed away the ref, the way she took off the knee brace, the way she hit Riddle, I thought was great. Like, it was a full-blown, I've had enough of this crap kind of moment for her. And I thought it was amazing.
Oh yes, I absolutely agree. I think her facial expressions, and I even said it to Hutch before we went green on the show. I was like, Dakota Kai actually looks more believable angry. Like she, like the nice gimmick that she had, the almost Bayley-esque type gimmick that she had, I just wasn't vibing on it. But as soon as her that switch flipped and she was not even honestly, in my opinion, her angry faces are better than Bayley's, at least from what I saw last night. So Hutch, what was you thinking about that turn when you saw it, bro?
One word comes to mind when I witnessed it. This is organic.
Yeah.
This is real. This is legitimate in the grand scheme of things in the story that they told. Again, Dakota was overlooked. She was ousted from the team. To me, the way that I looked at it, as previously mentioned by Lou, like I did, as a wrestling fan, usually you can see heel turns coming, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're with the exception of very few, typically they're coming. I thought it was going to be, here comes Dakota Kai. She's finally out of the cage. She's got a chance on the team. She's going to go in and run roughshod on all these other women and have a hell of a showing and all that stuff and show that she belonged to be on that team. Or excuse me, she was meant to be on that team. Fuck that. They went a whole different route with her. And when she stepped out and she just kind of got that look and she just kind of rolled her eyes and shot that cold stare back at that cage and then just went to work. I actually sat up on the couch and just went, yo, that was brilliant. That was dope. That was perfectly executed. It was one of the best heel turns I've seen from a WWE product in a while. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. Like, that's good stuff. Again, I mean, like I said, the whole women's WarGame match was just kind of like whatever as far as the lead up to it. But
Hush, I don't want to interrupt you, but
what's that?
I think we also have to address that heel turn. Clearly, that means she cut out Mia Yim.
Oh yeah, see, I thought about that too.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I said to Tom last night, I said she just happened to be in the back by the ambulance when she joined the team.
Well, we're not going to need Scooby-Doo and the gang to fucking figure out this mystery, are we? I think we've got it.
I think so too, and I think that and that leaves a hook. and we'll get right back to that women's WarGames match, but that leaves a hook for Wednesday, because I feel like Wednesday, when she comes out, we're gonna hear that she is the one who attacked Mia Yim, and that's good. And listen, Dakota Kai's gonna have smoke with a couple of different ladies on that roster by the time this is all said and done.
Well,
yeah, that's the best part. That's the best part about this whole angle is in this one night, you legitimately gave her a feud with everyone that was on Rhea Ripley's team.
Yep.
In one night, she had a feud with 4 different women that can literally, if you do it right, can last to the middle of the summer of next year.
Oh yeah, she's got plenty. She's got plenty of feuds, plenty of time to build feuds. I mean, it's really good. I mean, this was a great fresh turn for her for Dakota Kai, and it was something that she needed, because Dakota Kai is super talented. I really think that she's one of the best sellers on the NXT roster. She knows how to sell, and we saw a little bit of that last night, just with her facial expressions, because facial expressions is a big part of selling, and she just exuded badassery with that beatdown last night, and William Regal coming out and having to pry Dakota Kai off of Tegan Knox was just, I loved everything about it.
And another thing, going back to the part with, when Regal stepped in there,
yeah,
and then when she like shot back at him and shoved him back too, and you heard like an audible gasp from like all the crowd, like, oh my god, like Regal snapped, right?
Yeah.
Like people were vibing on every bit of that, man. And to go back to what Lou said, Shayna Baszler, just her reactions and stuff, the way she was acting in the cage, just laughing at all this, and like when she was walking down to the cage once, it was her turn to get in, was just nothing short of gold. Shayna Baszler has gotten so good at everything. Again, she's one of those women that she's a badass and she's believable, because again, check her resume. Just like we say about our show, check our resume, but yeah, check her resume, man. Like, look at she's beaten women's asses before, and probably some dudes too. So,
I gotta say, I'm really loving what I'm seeing from Shayna Baszler, and to move just a bit forward to tonight, I have a feeling, this is just me, I have a feeling that Shayna's hand might be getting raised by the end of the night. But moving back towards the WarGames match, I really want to talk about Rhea Ripley and how her star shined last night. I mean, she came out there, she was bringing the weapons, and that's what we want to see in those type of matches. We want to see a little bit of hardware, and then just what she brought last night. Hutch, what was you thinking about Rhea Ripley, and do you feel like she was made last night? What's your opinion?
Oh, I'd say absolutely a star was made. I mean, she's what. I mean, she, as far as like the check marks, the check boxes, as far as what makes a wrestler, yeah, she has that. Because if you saw Rhea Ripley walking down the street, right?
Yeah,
you would know that she was somebody. Because I mean, look at her, right? I mean, she's just got that aura, that presence about her.
Yes.
And what she showed last night, man, holy shit, she's tough as nails. I mean, she took an ass beating, but she gave an ass beating too, and she worked well with a lot of different styles of talent in that match, and really had the crowd behind her. It was interesting to see her in because she was in an underdog kind of situation in this too, with the previous events that happened, for her to come out on top. I mean, it was just whoever laid this match out. I personally think, as a fan, again, I'm no expert when it comes to this stuff, and there may be more people with more of an expert opinion than I have, saying, "Oh no, the layout of this match was terrible." As a fan, I thought the layout of this match was great. It was fun to watch, and again, it made a lot of new stars come out of it. So, I was with it.
I agree with that. I really feel like Rhea Ripley came out looking like a shining star, and I really feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more of Rhea Ripley, and I think I've said this. I haven't said this on the show. I know I've said it off air, but I'm going to say this, and then we'll talk to Lou about it. I really think that Rhea Ripley is the legitimate female that could take that title off of Shayna Baszler, and I actually believe it. I really, really do, because Shayna Baszler has gone up against a lot of women, a lot. Let's not take away how long she's had that championship. She's had it for a very long time, and she's faced a lot of different females. We're not talking about now known as Jon Moxley, back then known as Dean Ambrose, his U.S. title reign where he had it for a long time and never defended it. No, we're talking about Shayna Baszler, who's had this title for a long time and has consistently defended it. So for me to say that Rhea Ripley is the one that I think that could legitimately take the title off her, and I believe it, I mean what I say, and I truly believe that. So Lou, you was texting me last night and basically paraphrasing what you said, man. You was basically saying the same thing, that Rhea Ripley is a star and that she was made. So why don't you go ahead and expand on that, man?
Well, I've been talking to you for a while about her. I've been a big fan of her for basically since right before the Mae Young Classic. The first one that I seen her, and there was just something about her that I was just like, man, I don't know. I gravitate to her for some reason. But I'll tell you what, though. I said it to you last night. Last night they officially put a rocket on her back.
That's right. That's it.
They officially said, Hunter basically said, this is going to be our girl that we ride with. And not even last night. Look back at the whole last week and a half. She had a showdown with Sasha Banks, where she had a great spot where she reversed what would have been a DDT into a suplex, showing her power.
Yeah.
She had that great that finish with Charlotte and Bayley was amazing when she came and somehow got the pin. I've never seen that spot before. I love that spot. That opening promo with Becky, all she said was, "Oh, so you're the man? Let me see your balls." And in that moment, I was like, "Holy crap!" Right? And she said two words, and I'm like, "I'm hooked. I want to see this match." After that, I never even turned on AEW. I was stuck. I thought I'm staying with this tonight. But last night, for someone who stole her start, she's a large woman, and height and muscle mass. Like she just like I said, she'll kick your ass, and as her said, she'll rob you and laugh at you. You won't do anything about it. And they somehow made her an underdog last night, and it worked. It's her and Candice LeRae, who we can't leave out. I mean, two of them and then four women. It was just a believable. Well, I don't have enough words for it. I was so happy watching her. I think she's a star. That spot when she handcuffed herself to Shayna Baszler.
Yes.
I was marking for that. I was like, this is great. I love this. But I didn't see that spot coming with the handcuffs, but here we are. She's handcuffing herself to Shayna Baszler. But she is, without a doubt, I think, a superstar. And I know this is going to probably dust you guys a little off-put, but she's the kind of girl that I think Vince McMahon would want on the main roster to be the opposite of Becky. And I just did her headline in WrestleMania at one point. I really do. I just think she has everything. There's nothing about her I would change.
That's not off-putting to me, because when I look at Rhea Ripley, when I watch her work, that she's the type of talent, and I've said this before. I realize we haven't really talked about Rhea Ripley much on the show, but this is a great opportunity for me to say this. I feel like that Rhea Ripley, her look, the way she wrestles, her voice, the way that she talks, she doesn't have to say much, because that's not she doesn't have to sit up there and cut a 15-minute promo to convince me that she's a badass. Like when I see somebody as small as like Sasha Banks, who is talented, but admittedly she's small. She has to cut those promos to make me believe her, because she doesn't have that size or that muscle mass that Rhea Ripley has, or even that badassery in her voice that Rhea Ripley has. Rhea Ripley is somebody that I think that you can put her on any women's roster in any promotion, and she can be the cornerstone of that roster, of that division.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my thoughts on that. So for you to say that she could one day headline a WrestleMania, that's not too far from the truth for me. We just saw it happen this past year, so I think anything's possible now. And if anybody can do it, I really, really think it's her. I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan.
And you know what I want to say before we get on to the next topic? Have either of you guys ever seen the movie Mad Max Fury Road?
I have not. What about you, Hutch?
He said Mad Max?
Yeah, the last Mad Max movie that came out.
No, I can't say I've seen the last one, no.
When you get a chance, just look up the movie. I forget her name. I don't know how to pronounce the name. It's like Charlene Theron, I believe that's her name.
Oh, yeah, I do know
if you
who
look
she
at her,
is, yeah.
If you look at her in that film and you look at Rhea Ripley, that is the same persona. And I mean that as a positive. Like, I look at her and I'm just like, Rhea Ripley is Mad Max. She is
oh, my God, you're right.
I'm going to have to look this up.
I actually just pulled up some images of that, and yeah, he's not far off.
Really?
Yeah, because that one.
Yeah, I think it's a positive. She just has that.
Oh yeah.
She just has that look of like, shut your mouth and let me take care of it. What get it done. And honestly, last week I don't remember what happened, but last week I just looked at her and for some reason it clicked in my head. I was like, oh, you know what? She reminds me of Mad Max.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, because one of the things that I thought, and I was actually thinking this when Rhea was making her way down to the cage, that I was thinking that if they was want to do like some kind of like action movie with a female lead, that's like a believable badass female lead, Rhea Ripley could do that.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
Or if they possibly wanted to have an antagonist lead, as a female leader of a gang or some shit like that, Rhea Ripley would be believable in that. I'd buy her.
I mean, without a doubt, I think
I'd buy her.
Yeah, I think we all agree that basically at the end of the day, Rhea Ripley can do whatever she wants.
Word.
She's just right now. She's hitting on every cylinder right now. I mean, there's just nothing she can do that wrong.
She can do no wrong. She can do no wrong, and I absolutely have to agree with that, just because I see her and I'm just like, she's a star, and she proved that last night with a very impressive 2-4 victory in the women's WarGames match, which was absolutely amazing. And you have to think that big victory hopefully can lead to a title shot for her down the line. Maybe. I mean, okay, before we move on to the next match, because there's not many matches to talk about. It was a great show, but it only had like 4, maybe 5 matches. So I wanna ask this, and I'm gonna start with Hutch. When would you do Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship? When will you think is the right time for that?
I would say the Takeover before Mania.
Ooh.
Based on what they've done now, I don't want them to like rush it.
Yeah, please don't rush it.
I say continue to kind of bait it a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe set it up. Just do the classic. Set it up in January at the Rumble, and because I'm sure they'll do a Takeover then as well.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe set it up kind of following that, and then just kind of lead it into Mania, the Takeover before Mania. And yeah, I think I would go ahead and pull the trigger on Rhea Ripley going over on Shayna, and then I'd move Shayna up, or I don't want to say up, over, because again they're pretty much equals now.
Yeah.
Move Shayna over to either Raw or SmackDown.
Sure.
But hell, man, they may keep her in NXT, seeing as how they're going full bore with that. I mean, I don't know if moves from NXT is going to be so quick now. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. With them being with the point that you just said, with NXT now being on the level with SmackDown and Raw, maybe we don't see those type of transitions much anymore, or maybe we do, but they don't happen as often. Who knows? You know, there's just still a lot of questions with that. With now NXT not being looked at as you know, the developmental. I guess that's more evolved now, is more of the developmental. But with NXT being looked at as on the level and being on the USA Network, who knows how that's going to work. But I'm going to throw it over to Lou, man. What are you thinking? When would you do Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship?
I say this with no hesitation. I do it after Mania weekend.
Oh,
yep. I think that right now you have, 4 months, just 4 months to build a storyline.
Yeah.
I just think that's the manual weekend. And, man, I don't know. I don't know. And, all right, so I'm going to just change the question really quick, just for one moment.
Sure, go ahead.
But do you think it's possible, and I mean, I just thought about this on the moment, but do you think it's possible that we don't even have an NXT Takeover this year? Because, like you said, like Hush said, it's on the same level. Do you think they just include them on the Mania card now? Because if they do, and I'm only saying this for one reason, I want to see Rhea Ripley have some kind of crazy entrance with that pirate ship at the Tampa Bay football field.
Ooh.
Okay. True.
Okay. You got me now.
Having some kind of wild entrance with that pirate ship and just with her look. But I would do Mania weekend. I think you just build it up. You have something to lead to. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. And like you said, there might not be, you know, maybe they might not move Shayna. Maybe they might keep her on NXT, which I hope they do, because I think she would kind of just become a run-of-the-mill kind of villain on Monday night at SmackDown. But, yeah, I would do it Monday night, and if they do take her, then, you know, you have your Monday night after WrestleMania that you always have. Shayna Baszler is your next surprise debut. But WrestleMania would definitely be my choice.
Okay, good pick, because I agree with both of you guys there. So we're gonna talk about our sponsor real quick, and then we're gonna move along to that triple threat match, which was absolutely amazing. And I definitely want to take a quick second to shout out the amazing Dragon Horde's Coin and Gaming. Dragon Horde is a premier store for Magic and coins in Central Indiana. If you live here in Central Indiana, come check out the store, play some in-store events. But if you aren't here, hit up the Facebook page at Dragon Horde's Coin and Gaming. That's Dragon Horde's Coin, letter N, Gaming, to contact them about buying your stuff. They are always buying coins, Magic cards, silver, and of course gold. And if you do not know how to play Magic, they will teach you. You can catch In Your House every single Thursday at Dragon Hordes. Not this upcoming one because it will be Thanksgiving, but after that, we're there every Thursday doing the Facebook Live show. We love doing it, love giving it to you guys. We just did one this past Thursday. Really, really good episode. A lot of good traffic in the chat, and we love it because every single time that me, Hutch, and Drake do this, just the numbers get more and more. Isn't that right, Hutch?
Yeah, again, we get these people that are continuing to sip on our unique brand of Kool-Aid, and for the life of me, I still don't understand why. But I appreciate it, and it's fun to do. And again, if you tell your friends, we want to continue to build the numbers and build the cult, as it were.
Yes.
Yes. And it's going to pan out a whole hell of a lot better than that whole Jim Jones thing did. Trust me. Ain't nobody going to be getting taken out or anything like that. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's the goods. It's the goods.
It is, man. It is. And speaking of the goods, man, that's a fantastic segue into this great triple threat match for the number one contendership for the NXT Championship, where Pete Dunne went up against Damian Priest and Killian Dane. Hutch, what were you thinking about this insane match?
Well, first off, I actually tweeted out that Damian Priest looks like a boss you'd run into at the end of a level on Streets of Rage on Sega Genesis. Like all of a sudden that heavy bass line hits that, so then here he comes, man. And then you got to throw down with it. Then you got to eat the chicken to refill your health and all that shit. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but no, I first off, I really like Damian Priest. That dude, he's just got a cool vibe about him. He looks like a badass. Another thing that I thought of as well, I'm thinking this Damian Priest guy has seen a lot of bricks of cocaine moved. Like he's never moved them himself, but he was a bodyguard for somebody that moved a lot of booger sugar back in the day. But I'm not going to ask questions about that. But as far as what he can do in the ring, though, it's fantastic. He's got a great look. He can work in the ring. His intro music is fucking awesome.
Yes.
And again, he can just go. And these three just work very well together.
Oh, I agree. And
And,
they make for a great match.
And what can I say? Rhea Ripley's little brother Pete Dunne did fantastic. like I swear, if we don't ever get a spot where Rhea Ripley is coming out with Pete Dunne on her shoulders, all of this is for nothing. All of this is for nothing.
Oh God! Now I want to see. Now I want to see.
No,
an angle where they're
now I
little
want
brothers.
them in the now I want them in the tag team match challenge.
Thank you.
I want to see it now. Oh man, and this made for a really, really great match. I mean, I really like Damian Priest. I've had my eye on him since he was Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and man, Killian Dane has just been on another level since that Sanity debacle where they had Sanity not do anything. God, I don't want to get into that. But we all know how good Pete Dunne is and just his joint manipulation, his style. Pete Dunne is absolutely amazing and it's going to make for a great match tonight at Survivor Series. But Lou, what was you thinking about that triple threat match? Because that match was so deceptively good to me. What were you thinking?
You know what? I was not looking forward to the match, as odd as that sounds. I'm not saying not looking forward. It wasn't on my radar. Like, I really didn't care.
Yeah.
That completely changed by the end of the match. By the end of the match, I was watching it, and to piggyback off of Hutch, Damian Priest's entrance is, I mean, you just have to give credit to the WWE. Like, they just know how to give you an entrance, like no one else. And that shoot in the arrow, the Titantron with his name coming up, and he just has a, I don't even know, he's so fluid with how he moves for a man his size.
Yes.
And he has such a cockiness after every move that he hits that I can't help but chuckle because I love the bad guys. So, I've always been a fan of the bad guys. So I chuckle. But I can see like a little kid watching him and being like, I just want to see him get beat up. And I think that credit to him. He's so smooth. Killian Dane, like Huss said, he's been on I've noticed him. He's been on a crazy level since he's gone to NXT and just really, he's not handcuffed by anyone else. He's not handcuffed by 95 creative writers. He's just going out. He's putting on good matches. And Pete Dunne, Pete Dunne is Pete Dunne. Like, that man doesn't have a bad match as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I agree with that. We saw these three just heavy hitters just going up against each other. Got a chance to see Dane hit a Michinoku driver on Dunn, which is great. I've always been a fan of the Michinoku driver, and just I got to say, another reason I like Priest is, fellas, I've always been a fan of the Razor's Edge. And you don't see the Razor's Edge that much in wrestling today. So the fact that Priest is doing it, I always love that move. So that just makes me like Priest a little bit more. And when I see Priest, guys that I think of when I see Damian Priest is Kane, Luchasaurus, Undertaker, those tall but lean type of big men that are just fluid in the ring, and I've always been drawn to those type of guys. I was always a big Undertaker fan, always a big Kane fan. Those big guys that can move in the ring, and that's what Damian Priest is, man. So to see him and doing this, It's amazing. So the match, in a match that seemingly thought it was never gonna end, and that's not. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. In a match that seemed like it was never gonna end, we saw Pete Dunne take the victory. So I'm gonna put it out here just like this, and I'm gonna start with Lou, putting you on the spot right now. Who do you think is gonna win this championship match tonight between Pete Dunne and Adam Cole? We all know it's gonna be a hell of a match, but who do you think is gonna be raising that title at the end of the bell?
I think you still have to go with Adam Cole. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're going to break up the run that Undisputed Era is having right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to keep that title on him. I think it's going to be a great match. I think it actually has the potential, as far as because traditional Survivor Series match is very hard to steal the show. And there's not that many one-on-one matches. I think it has the potential to actually be the best show, the best match on the card tonight.
Ooh, show-stealing match. I agree with that. It's definitely going to be a sleeper. I that much I do agree with because of the two talents that are involved, and it's an NXT Championship match. I can't argue with you there. I think it's going to be good. So, Hutch, right here on the spot right now, who's taking that title?
Man, that's a tough one to call. Because they seem to be really, really behind the Undisputed Era and all that. I think, man, I don't know. I really can't call it, but if I was forced to pick, I think Adam Cole's going to retain.
Yeah,
I do. I think they're going to have him retain, and it's going to tell the story of, yeah, these guys are assholes. They don't always play fair or whatever, but they're tough as well. Because again, look what Adam Cole went through, literally, at the end of that match, and and so on. I mean, Adam Cole's a badass, and they're really seem to get behind him too,
and
as they should. As they should. Because that's a horse I'd hitch my wagon to for sure. And yeah, and it's crazy. I think it's great that they're getting that spot on Survivor Series. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's going to feel special, and I think it could possibly be the match of the night.
Exactly. I think so too. Just like Lou said, you got to think of all different factors. And I see it like this, okay? I see Pete Dunne just had a barn burner of a match last night at NXT WarGames. You have to take into effect Adam Cole, who took the most punishment out of everybody in that match last night at WarGames.
He died at the end of the match.
My God, and we're definitely going to get to that. We are definitely going to get to that.
Tonight,
but
that's why he's going to win tonight, because it's basically going to be Pete Dunne but a zombie. He died last night, and he's going to rise from the dead and have a match 24 hours later. But continue.
Oh yes, and man, I really feel like that tonight the atmosphere is going to be good with it being in Chicago, and it's gonna make for a great match. It's gonna make for a great match. So what we're gonna do is
I do have one question though before we move on. I just want to make one question, guys. What did you guys think of that spot outside the ring when Tony and Dane had Pete Dunne and Damian Priest on, when he was holding both of them and did the fall-away slam?
Oh man, when he had that fall-away slam.
Yeah, when he had Damian Priest on his shoulders and he was holding Pete Dunne at the same time, like that's just
that looked great. That was an awesome spot, and it lit the crowd up.
Oh,
yeah, it's not like he did it with two smaller guys. Damian Priest. I'm not sure of his size, but he's a big man to be having on your shoulders. And then you have Pete Dunne, who in the wrestling world is smaller, but he's not a small guy in general. And he threw them with ease. I mean, that was just a very impressive spot, and I just wanted to point that out.
Absolutely. And it was a great match. Like I said, the match was long, but you have to think about what they were fighting for, and it was so much. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a little break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about the second half of the night, which made for a lot of great matches. Hey guys, this is Khan from In Your House. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the 10 days of Black Friday at Pro Wrestling Tees, where you can save up to 40% off of merchandise. That's the 10 days of Black Friday. And for In Your House podcast merchandise, you can get 20% off. That's at www.prowrestlingtees.com/inyourhouse. So go ahead and give a gift. Give the gift of In Your House to your significant other, your kids, your friends at Christmas. Once again, that is the 10 days of Black Friday at Pro Wrestling Tees. Thanks a lot. Hey guys, we are back here at In Your House. We're still talking about NXT Takeover WarGames here with Lou and of course Hutch. And the next thing we wanted to talk about is this match between Finn Balor and Matt Riddle, and they had a nice little match. Man, I gotta say this for Finn Balor, man, for me, and this was a good match. But for me, man, it's hard for me to take Finn seriously coming back, being the tough guy that he's acting. I mean, this is something me and Hutch have talked about on previous episodes, but I don't dislike Finn. It's just that it's hard to take him seriously in the tough guy role. The match was good. So Hutch, what was you thinking about this match though? We won't talk about our personal feelings on Finn Balor. What did you think about the match?
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that because, like I said, I mean, to go back on the previous episodes and you guys know how I feel about Lego Finn. But yeah, the match itself, I was invested in it solely for the fact that Matt Riddle was in it. Yeah. Again, as I've said on here, I love Matt Riddle. Like, I'm a huge fan of Matt Riddle. I still see a money match between Matt Riddle and Brock Lesnar one day.
Oh, yeah.
If WWE doesn't do that, seeing as how they didn't, strike while the iron was hot when they brought Bobby Lashley in, and instead they had Bobby Lashley like bending over and showing his ass and or whatever the hell of the nonsense. Now he's got some baby mama drama going on, or he did whatever.
Let's not bring that up, please.
Yeah, we're gonna let that go. We're gonna just go keep pushing right on past that. But anyway, yeah. And for what it's worth, again, me not being invested in Finn Balor, it's not to take away from Finn Balor's work. He can still go.
Oh, yeah.
Even regardless of WWE dropping the ball with him, in my personal opinion, as of right now. Nobody's beyond redemption, though, so we'll see how it goes. As far as I'm concerned, it's a good direction that they're going with him. It's probably the best that they can possibly do with Finn Balor. But again, Matt Riddle was fantastic. Even in losing here, he came out looking great. So I think both competitors won in this, and again, it was an easy, fun wrestling match to watch. So yeah, I dug it for what it was.
Oh yeah, I definitely dug it. One thing that I really noticed I want to touch on that match is that Balor's heel work, it felt like more deliberate and brutal than his face run, which is good. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Yeah.
I really liked that. A lot of mat based work, and for me it just made for a really good match. So Lou, what was you thinking about this match from your perspective? That's Matt Riddle versus Finn Balor.
I'm gonna have to agree with everything that Hush said. It really didn't care too much about the storyline going into it. It was just more of a, I just wanted to see what kind of match they can have. These guys haven't fought each other before. So I was just curious how they would gel, and I thought they gelled very well. I thought the match was fun. I actually think it was better than the triple threat, which I know might sound a little weird, but I thought it was just a very, very good match, and I just enjoyed every bit of it. And I would have liked to have seen Riddle win, but I feel like there's something about Riddle that I feel like he doesn't have to win to get over. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So but I enjoyed the match. It was actually my favorite match of the night, believe it or not.
Oh, it was a great match. It was a great match, and it was a match that saw Riddle take the L to the 1916 DDT from Finn Balor, which that's crazy because I don't know if he's not going to be doing the coup de grace anymore, if he's going to be using the 1916 moving forward in his heel run, which if it is, that's okay because I this might not be a popular opinion, but I was never a huge fan of the coup de grace. So I if he's going to be doing the 1916 moving forward, I'm okay with that.
Yes and no, in my opinion. I mean, I guess where he's at in NXT, he's going to make it work. But, to see him put it on somebody, he ain't going to be hitting the 1916 on Braun Strowman. You know what I mean?
No. God, no.
Again, call me. I know I'm just a random schmo who just happens to watch wrestling and co-host a 5-star podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like a quality finisher should be able to be utilized on anybody, be they 5 foot or 7 foot. And good luck on Lego Finn doing the 1916 on like Braun Strowman, Big Show, somebody like that,
or even somebody like Keith Lee or Damian Priest.
And there you go. Yeah, those two. Those are two very good examples there. Keith Lee, is a force of nature, but he's also quite round. So
yeah.
so yeah, good luck to Balor on that.
Oh yes. It was a great match. It was a really good match on a show that and this is one thing that I've noticed about NXT. Their matches like we're like in the background right now. When you guys listen to this, it'll be Monday morning 6 a.m. But we took a little break and now we're moving right into Survivor Series as the second half of this show is being recorded. And for me, man, I'm looking at guys like Keith Lee, like Damian Priest, and what we're about to see. As the show is kicking off. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of fresh feuds for Finn Balor. But my whole point in saying it in the first place is that we're about to watch what is about to be a 4-hour show after a 2-hour kickoff show. My point is, NXT only had about 4 matches, and then I think they had 1 match on the pre-show, and this show was still great, and it ended around like 9:30. I still had the rest of my evening to sit up there and play Call of Duty and chill out with the family. Now, I know Survivor Series is going to be anywhere to 11 to 11:15 tonight. It's going to be it's just going to be long, but for me, NXT gets it right, and that's moving. And for me to say that is for me to say this, moving right along into that main event, which was the WarGames match, which my goodness, it was so fun. This is a match that saw Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, and a mystery partner that you guys already know about, but we'll reveal it. And going up against every member of the Undisputed Era, that's Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. Lou, what was you thinking about this main event, man?
Well, first of all, I'm going to apologize in advance. Yesterday, unfortunately, I gave you my opinion on who might be the mystery man.
Yeah.
And I know you were a little let down when you wasn't the mystery man, but I enjoyed it, man. I'm not surprised that I enjoyed it. It probably, if you looked at the entire roster, you would have to say that those 8 men are probably, I would say they're probably top 15 in the WWE for in-ring work. So I'm not really surprised what we got in the actual match.
Sure.
I thought it was very well done with how they did everything. And one thing I loved in this match, and we didn't get to talk to earlier, but during the women's WarGames match, I loved how her name slipped in my head right now. Who's the UK Women's Champion?
Oh, that I do believe that's Kaylee Ray. Yeah, Kaylee Ray.
Yes, Kaylee Ray. I loved how she never pulled out the table when the crowd was chanting at the table.
Yeah.
And then we basically started with Adam Cole pulling out about 45 tables for this match.
Yes, man.
Like it was very little, but it was very funny to me that like it looked like he was going to grab the table, and then he said, "Master, you guys." And then Adam Cole just turned out, "Oh no way, I'll grab 45 tables." No, we'll do with that. But I enjoyed it very much.
Oh yes, it was a great match, and one of my favorite parts of the match that just made me laugh it's going back to Adam Cole on the tables. Adam Cole takes out one of the tables and he sets it up on one of the barricades outside the ring.
Yeah.
And boy, did that backfire on him so fast. Because as soon as this man is trying to get into the ring, Ciampa's like, nope, pushes him, and he goes right through the table that he literally just set up. And I don't know why, but that just popped the shit out of me. I just died laughing.
Yeah, that shit cracked me up too. It was like here's Adam Cole. He takes all this time. Crowd's going crazy. He's like, yeah, I almost have to say, well, put some bitch through it, right? And then here's Ciampa's like, nope.
As he was doing it, I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like, what spot are they going to do over here? What's going to happen? Not even 10 seconds later, Ciampa's like, yeah, okay, oh, that's the end of the spot.
Going through the table, man, and it was great. It really made for a great match, and somebody who really stood out to me. Everybody had their moment, and then we'll talk about the person who ended up coming out. But for me, man, just these last couple of days, we talked about Rhea Ripley and how Rhea Ripley has really cemented herself just in these last couple of days. She defeated, defeating Bayley and Charlotte in a triple threat match, and then having a great standout WarGames with a 4-on-2 odds stacked up against her. The person who I think really stood out in this match to me was Limitless Keith Lee. That man is so freaking talented, so talented. Lou, what do you think? What do you think about? Because we've talked a lot about a lot of different talents, but I want to know what's your thoughts on Limitless Keith Lee in the time that you've seen him.
I've been lucky enough to have seen him in person quite a few times, and there's just something about him that even though I've seen him already, I'm still amazed by what he does.
Yeah,
it just makes no sense with his body type, how he moves the way he moves, and it looks like the more you watch him, the more you're like, man, like I don't think this guy runs out of stamina. Like he just keeps going.
Yeah.
But I know you have to, the little areas in the map where you take a break because you just have to let other people get their shine in. But if you watch it, you can easily go like, oh yeah, Keith Lee could easily still be doing something right now if you want him to. Like he doesn't actually have to take that spot. But yeah, I agree. I think he was definitely the star of the men's WarGames. Like as much as the Rhea Ripley was for the women. Man, I tell you, one thing NXT does, man, they know how to develop superstars, and they develop them really, really quick, and they do it in just a great way that you don't realize. Like by the end of the week, you're like, oh, hey, like so-and-so is a star now. Like I didn't see that coming, but they do it, and they do it very well.
I agree with that. Looking at names such as Rhea Ripley and Limitless Keith Lee, how their stock has risen in just a week's time. Hell, Adam Cole's rise coming to the main roster. When he first showed up on SmackDown, I was watching that very, very closely and critically, and I'm looking at the crowd's reaction on SmackDown when he first showed up on SmackDown. This is when he was having his match against Daniel Bryan, and I'm like, he comes in the ring, and he's getting ready to do his Adam Cole baby thing, and I'm watching. I'm like, please let this crowd be loud. Please let this crowd be loud and know who he is. And as soon as he did the Adam Cole baby, and everybody in that SmackDown arena is saying it with him, I'm like, he's made. He's a star. Put him on SmackDown. Leave him there because he's a big. And this is the type of thing that SmackDown needs. This is what SmackDown needs, is guys like this that are young but established and have something that people are going to remember them. So I really think that NXT invasion and my biggest thing, and I know Hutch agrees with this too, is that our biggest fear is that after Survivor Series, everything's going to go back to status quo. Everybody's going to go back to their respective shows, and we're not gonna see guys like like Adam Cole or Keith Lee or Dominic Dijakovic or Damian Priest on Raw or even SmackDown. And I really, really hope I'm wrong about that. I really do, because if you get these guys on these other shows and then take what they've gotten from being on SmackDown and Raw and bring it back to Wednesday night NXT, you're going to bring people from Raw and SmackDown that would have not watched NXT, that would have not watched NXT, and you're going to bring them to NXT. So I really hope this isn't the last that we've seen of it. And speaking of guys, it's a perfect segue. Speaking of guys that have been on Raw and SmackDown and showed up on NXT, we're talking about the fourth member of Team Ciampa for the WarGames, and I gotta say, especially with the expectation that was set for me by my man Lou over here, I was like, oh, give me Morrison, I really want Morrison. But it ended up being Kevin Owens, and for me, it was great, and he did a great job, but man, I was just deflated a little bit, because I was like, I guess I was expecting somebody completely different. But that's not to take anything away from Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens still had a great outing. He had the classic NXT look, which I loved, but I don't know. It just didn't click with me. Hutch, what were you thinking when you saw that it was Kevin Owens?
Well, I was thinking I'm not going to bother to pull up and call Ripley's, because they would not be surprised. Because again, I kind of seen it was coming. Not that it's a bad fit. But I think in the overall scheme of things, what WWE's doing, if you look at the long game here, is, we keep saying that, NXT is going to go back to the status quo. Yes, they will. But when NXT returns to the status quo, they're going to return to said status quo with a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah.
And what they are doing is they're getting all the pieces in place to truly start competing with AEW. And what's going to be really interesting is how the ratings, who NXT, and I don't think we've touched on this on the show yet, and we're unbiased, so let's go ahead and touch on it right now.
Sure.
NXT beat AEW in the ratings this past Wednesday.
Yes, they did. The streak is over. As you said, the streak is over.
That has happened. And it's not with lack of effort from AEW. And I think, it leading with Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley really helped with that. But it is what it is. It happened. And now, after this Survivor Series fallout, a lot more of the, I guess you could say, casual fans is going to know who these people on NXT are. Yeah. And let's face it, if you didn't know who these people were, and then you saw what they did and probably what they're going to do tonight, and you don't walk away a fan of them, then I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. I'll go ahead and say that NXT is probably going to have a pretty good rating spike out, this coming Wednesday. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
I concur. I think, like you say, we look at things through an unbiased lens here, and AEW has been great. I've enjoyed every single week. I mean, hands down, no arguments. But NXT, they're creeping on the come up. They've already beat them this week. As you said, they've got a lot of familiar faces coming in, and man, it's a great time. I've said it a million times on this podcast. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. So Lou, with you thinking that it was going to be Morrison, which would have been amazing and a great pick, and then you saw that it was Kevin Owens, what was your initial thoughts when you saw that?
Oh, I think I actually attested to holy shit.
You did. Yep.
I wasn't. I thought Morrison would have been cool. We actually ended up beating afterwards. I said no. I don't know what the injury is, but I would have loved to see Velveteen return. But I don't know what that injury is.
Yeah.
But I was happy to see Owens, because part of me was just like, man, it is so nice to see Owens where he belongs, which is in a wrestling environment. Not to say that he hasn't been used well on the main roster, or not the main roster, but on Raw and SmackDown. They've used him pretty well. But, it's just, you watch it and, it's just different on NXT, and you saw it in the match. And I thought Undisputed did an amazing, that close-up of Adam Cole's reaction when that music hit. I thought it was just a great reaction, and I think,
Fantastic.
and if if Vince doesn't, if they keep the rosters as they are, and they don't bring Adam Cole to Raw or SmackDown, I'm happy with that. But if they bring them to Raw or SmackDown, I would love to see an Adam Cole and Kevin Owens feud over there. I think they would do an amazing job. I was happy with how everything was. Morrison would have been cool, but then when you really look at it, you're like, what would have been the reason other than, hey, this is how we debuted Morrison.
Right.
At least with Kevin Owens, there's a little bit of a history there with the Undisputed Era from the Indies.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it was it made for a great match and a lot of weapons and just mayhem. And speaking of mayhem, I want to talk about that finishing spot. Oh my gosh! I mean, I when I saw that, so I'm sitting there and I'm watching this with my wife. And we're both, and we see what's going on, and as Ciampa has him on the top of the cage, fellas, and he has him in that, what is that position? It looked like it was like a not a Death Valley driver, but it. Oh,
I believe when Sheamus did it, they called it white noise.
White noise, thank you, white noise.
Yes, sir.
And when I saw him positioning him in the white noise from the top of the cage, I was like, "There's no way they're doing this. There is no way. Who is stopping this?"
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. If I can interject.
Sure.
Isn't that what they call Jim Cornette now? White noise?
Oh, wow.
No.
Wow.
No. Oh man. So oh my gosh. So they have him there on the top of the cage. And I'm like, there's no way this is happening. Somebody's gonna thwart this, somebody's gonna stop it. And then it happened. And as he was in midair, both me and Kayla were both like, holy shit. Like, what is happening? Like it was crazy. And I couldn't believe what I sat up there and saw, because I was like, that's like it was off the top of the cage through 2 tables, and I'm like, that can't be safe. But after I saw it a couple more times through the replays, and they did a good job. I think they did a good job of like showing how serious it was, because they showed the replay so many times. And for when I saw it, I was like, wow, Ciampa really did a fantastic job of taking care of Adam Cole's body through that fall.
Absolutely.
Lou, what was you thinking when you saw that final spot?
Pretty much the same thing. Like I thought someone was going to break it up. Then I'm looking at it, I'm like, you know what, they're really high up. I don't think anyone's going to be able to break this up. And then once they came down halfway through, I was like, holy shit, they're really doing the spot. And the way he landed, I was waiting for the replay just to make sure that Adam Cole was okay.
Yeah.
That's the kind of spot that I don't think you should pay me enough money to do. I don't care who's giving it to me. I don't care how much I think you're going to protect me. I don't think I would ever be able to do that spot.
Oh, yes. It was just crazy. And it was insane, man, because for me, man, I looked at it and I was like, okay, like, I understand that they want to go out big, like they want to finish this show big, and that makes perfect sense. But to pretty much piggyback on what you just said, Lou, I don't think there'd be enough that you could pay me to really take that spot, especially. And I said this to you, Hutch. I think I said this to you a little after it happened, or maybe today, with the commodity that they have and Adam Cole and all the potential that he has to be a top dog in WWE for many, many, many years. He could be their next Shawn Michaels. Who knows? He could be. He's such a fantastic performer. I'm like, why would they put this man in a position to take this spot when he's got such a bright future with the company? But when I actually saw it, I saw how well Ciampa took care of him, and I just got to say, good on Ciampa for doing a fantastic job of taking care of his opponent and taking care of his partner in that spot, because there was, I mean, one wrong slip up, one wrong move, and his career could have been over. I mean, it really could have.
What about Ciampa? Because the man literally is coming off of a neck injury.
I think Hutch, you said that, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually mentioned that as well. It was just like, it's kind of a combination of, it's like, the aforementioned value of Adam Cole and, like, why you'd put him in that spot, especially with having him work tonight, on Survivor Series. And then Ciampa, who it's still speculation, but I do believe he, like, has totally hacked the Wolverine gimmick and just, like, totally can regenerate himself. Because... what he's come back from, I'm no medical guy or nothing, I don't deal with any of that, but like what he's come back from and the way he's able to go, what we saw last night is nothing short of just incredible. And
absolutely,
again, going back to that spot, I just can't believe that they did that. Like, I mean, on one hand, I'm sitting there going, was it really necessary? No, but damn, it looked cool. And going back to what you guys said, like, I wouldn't take that spot. Nope, I wouldn't take that spot either. However, if I was going to do that spot, I'd want Ciampa to be the one to deliver it, because I think I'd be okay. I still think, not to take away from the fact that I bet it, even still, with it being executed as perfectly as it was, I bet it still hurt like a son of a bitch.
Oh, I'm sure.
No doubt. Don't get it twisted, guys, when we sit here and say, oh, they did it perfect, everything was fine. Hell no, I'm sitting here saying that shit didn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I just want to touch on one more thing.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Before that spot even happened, there was a spot that I really cringed on bad, that I was actually worried, and that was for the quote-unquote surprise entrant in the match, Kevin Owens, when he took that Canadian Destroyer on that metal plate.
Oh my God. It looked like his neck kind of was weird when he landed.
Well, not that, and just the sound. I mean, I don't know if that was like, if it was Adam, I believe it was Adam Cole was the one who delivered it to Kevin Owens. And I don't know if that thud sound was the sound of Adam Cole's feet hitting that rail, or if it was Kevin Owens' head hitting the rail. So it was that was just rough in and of itself. And plus, Kevin Owens, has the grace of a falling couch sometimes when he's flipping around in when he's flipping around in the air. So there's that. But and then boom, here we go with this, the finale, the crescendo, as it were. And man, what a way to end it.
Oh yes, and what they did a great job of selling the severity of that ending. Now, one thing that I wanted to touch on at the end of the match, and it was actually something that Lou had brought to my attention, because I didn't see it, and then later on I actually saw you talking about it on Twitter, Hutch, and that's the fact that and I'm gonna quote Lou exactly the text that he sent me. A wild Britt Baker appeared on NXT last night.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. Not only did we see her, I do believe they name dropped her too. But I mean, it's whatever. But the thing that kills me is it's like that's not even the thing. Like, I didn't even bat an eye.
Yeah.
Because it's been said. They've name dropped Adam Cole on AEW before. When they were talking about Britt Baker, they're like, this is Adam Cole's girlfriend or fiance or whatever the hell she is.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm finding it a struggle to give a shit. I mean, it doesn't matter, but the people on Twitter seem to be consumed by it. Like, there's people that's actually going at Britt Baker just because she was put on the screen.
How can she control that?
Really?
Yeah, dude, because again, I've actually been kind of active on Twitter lately, and, it's like, on one hand, I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm doing the Twitter thing because it's kind of necessary for what we do here, but then I'm like, I'm like, Twitter's fucking stupid, man. It's toxic as hell. Like, oh my God, it's bad.
Oh yeah.
Twitter, where positivity goes to die.
Man,
That's the best way I can describe Twitter these days, is where positivity goes to die.
There you go. Twitter is where positivity goes to die.
I really just can't believe it, because it's like, what is she supposed to stay away from her boyfriend's event? Like, is she not allowed to go there and support somebody that she loves? Like, that's the problem. And this is a whole nother episode that we could possibly do at some point, even with Lou. And like just because fans see this as a quote unquote war doesn't mean that the talent has to. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I'm willing to go out on a limb here, just from talent that I've talked to and that we've talked to on a regular basis, Hutch, in many different promotions. I'm willing to bet that these talents are so happy for each other. While fans are seeing it as a war, the talent is seeing it as like, wow, now you got somewhere to go to work. Oh, okay, I could work. Oh, okay, I can come and see your show. Okay, I'll come and check your show out. You know, and you got to think about it.
Yeah.
This is probably an opportunity where Britt Baker got to travel with Adam Cole, because look at it like this, okay? AEW was in Indianapolis on Wednesday. SmackDown was in Chicago. NXT Takeover was in Chicago. Survivor Series right now is in Chicago. Monday Night Raw is in Chicago. And where's AEW at next week? Chicago. This was a great opportunity for these two, who probably don't get a chance to spend that much time with each other, to get a good week together. So get the fuck out of here with that war shit. If you think it's a war, it's fine, but stop trying to attach that shit to the talent, because this is great for everybody.
Right, and it's like this too. It's like, you know, one, don't get heat to the talent. That's foolish. And why don't you look at it like this? If anything, it can, I don't know, maybe add another layer of intrigue to the match. It's like, man, you know, here they are, you know, here's his girl is here to support him. She's in a different company. That's our competition, but that just goes to show, you know, that, you know, she support, you know, they could like build off of that, make it part of it.
Yes.
Or at least fans can look at it that way. Don't look at it as an automatic negative, like, oh, she's a bitch for being there. How dare she be in front of the camera? Like, come on, man. Like, you bunch of knuckle dragging troglodytes, man. Like, I can't stand people.
I'm surprised that that's the position that people are taking. I thought the position that people would be taking would be, wow, I'm surprised WWE made mention of her.
Yes.
But you can show her, and then, you know, your hardcore fans that know who she is, people are like, oh, wow, that's a good Baker. But they went out of their way to say, like, oh, there's his girlfriend, she's worried. Like, that I just thought was like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, at that point, you might as well just write on the bottom, but Baker AEW.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what I thought was weird. I was just like, her being there, who cares? You know, you're in the area, that's your boyfriend, the big match, go there to put him. I'm all about that. I just thought it was odd that WWE made the decision to show her. When literally, it wasn't like they showed her on SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. They showed her at an NXT event where that is your direct competitor for ratings on Wednesday night. Yep. And you showed talent. You showed a talent from that company.
Oh, well,
So I just thought it was weird from WWE point of view, not the fans and her being there. That's just dumb. I just thought it was weird that WWE decided to not just show her, but make mention of who she was.
Well, I was going to say, I think that wasn't by accident, because that's kind of a hey, your talent's at our show. You know what I mean? Your talent's here. So they you know what? It's kind of a win-win. You know, they kind of get the point of showing her on TV because it's Adam Cole's girlfriend or fiance again, whatever she is.
Yeah.
And it also is kind of a notch in WWE's proverbial belt of saying, hey, we got your talent on our show. Your talent's face, you know, one of the main women who, you know, you guys are kind of trying to get behind.
Yeah.
Is you know, we got her face, which again is everything when it comes to being a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
You know, on our show. And it's got people talking about it, be it good, bad, whatever.
True that.
So.
Great point. And it it is a good point, because this thing, like the way that WWE is approaching this AEW thing, is in a way they never had done before with really other companies. They didn't do it with TNA. You know what I mean? They didn't do it with them. They didn't even mention TNA until after TNA had already been gone, and that wasn't even on a main show with AJ Styles. It was something that they did with Edge and Christian. So I think that it's just strange, different, quirky ways to kind of throw shots at each other. I mean, Hutch, we saw it ourselves after AEW went off the air with Cody and the Suck It Vince sign, and it's just weird, quirky ways to kind of throw shots at each other. And honestly, I'm here for it. And here's the last thing that I want to ask. The very last thing I want to ask before we call this a great episode and I get ready to catch the rest of Survivor Series, I want to ask this, and I'm going to start off with Hutch. You know what we do here, man? How many thumbtacks are you giving this show out of 10?
Well, I mean, like I said on the Twitter, NXT, the streak continues as far as their takeovers go. They still haven't had a bad one yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be hard-pressed to find anything wrong with this show. So, I mean, hell, I mean, I'll give it a 10. I mean, like I said, there's nothing bad on the show. Even though Balor was there and I'm not a fan of him, the match was still great. And, yeah. I'm going to say it was 10. It was great. It was, as far as a wrestling show goes, it was great. It was and as far as from a business sense, I think it was very strategic of WWE because, hey, the spotlight is on NXT right now. They're trying to draw eyes to it. They needed a great showing. They needed a great outing for their entire roster. They had that last night. They had a lot of new stars that were made, and that's going to continue tonight as Survivor Series progresses. Hell, I've already actually kind of seen it a little bit in the women's match here.
Yeah,
so,
I've been kind of spying on it too as we're talking.
So I mean, it's happening. And again, it's going to be very interesting in the coming weeks here how the ratings are going to look. And not that it's all about ratings. I know we talk about it a lot. In the grand scheme of things, ratings don't mean a damn thing. If you like it, you like it. And most people, they're probably going to watch both anyway, especially if you listen to us babble. You probably watch all this shit.
Yeah.
So, but there, we cover the ratings because some people do like talking about that shit.
Thanks.
But, us, my personal opinion, I don't want to speak for Lou and I don't want to speak for Khan, but ratings aren't the end all be all for me. However, on the other side of the coin, I was there for the Attitude Era and all that stuff when ratings was a big deal. So that's something I personally do have a somewhat interest in, but I'm not saying it's the end all be all. So just want to throw that out there.
Totally get you, bro. Totally get you. So throwing it over to my man Lou here. We have a system here. I'm sure you've heard it on the show before. We don't like to do stars and whatnot. We like to do thumbtacks. It's our personal little twist on it. So how many thumbtacks are you giving NXT TakeOver WarGames?
I'm gonna give it 8, and that's just because I wish there was more matches on the card.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, honestly, during that main event, I remember saying to myself, like, wow, this is the main event. And that's it. There's only 4 matches on the card. All right, I'm cool with that. Like, it didn't really bother me. But I thought it was, the matches were very good. I'm going to give it 8. I don't really have that many complaints. I just wouldn't give it a 10 because I feel like it has to be on a different level for it to be a 10 for me personally.
Sure.
I thought the pacing of the whole night was great. We had some great storylines, some great heel turns. People almost died a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I enjoyed it. And get into what Hush said for a moment. I'm not a big rating person as well, just basically because it literally does not affect my life. I don't get money off of it. I don't get nothing happens for me depending on what your ratings are. That ratings just don't do anything. I don't get anything for it, so I don't care about ratings. I understand why people do care about it, but just because of what's going on Wednesday night, I would like to see if hopefully NXT can capitalize on what they've what they have accomplished, and I think they have accomplished a lot in the month of November for the brand.
I agree with that. It was a great show. It was a great show at the end of the day. I think that they accomplished everything that they needed to accomplish as far as cross promoting the NXT talent with the main roster talent, which they've done that well in the last couple of weeks. For me, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 thumbtacks, and here's why. I feel like that a perfect show. This is just me personally. I feel like a perfect show should have a high-stakes championship match. Now, I'm being fair here because I do understand that all champions on the entire brand were all involved in the main event. So there was no reason for them to pull double duty, but it's just hard for me to give it a perfect 10 because there was no championship match. There wasn't even one championship match, which all the champions were preoccupied. I understand that, totally get it. But with the exclusion of that, for me, this was another knock out of the park for NXT. They have not put on a bad takeover like Hutch has said on many episodes of this podcast. They just don't do it. It was a great show. I just feel like that there should be some sort of championship implication somewhere, and I really wish that the WarGames matches kind of would have led to something like maybe championship opportunities down the line instead of just bragging rights, because I just kind of like with WWE as a whole, like even tonight, and it's a whole nother can of worms that we can get into on another episode, like brand supremacy, that's awesome, but why aren't they fighting for something more? Just for bragging rights and then everything goes back to the status quo? You know, I want more. I want more out of my Survivor Series. I want more out of my War Games.
But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying, I don't want to interrupt you, but you know what? I agree with that. But the whole thing with the Survivor Series that was weird is I understand 1,000% why the NXT brand is loyal to that brand. These are, quote unquote, the underdogs, the minor leagues, the developmental. I understand why they're fighting for that brand, and they want to show Raw SmackDown that they're better than them.
Yeah.
Most of the people on Raw SmackDown after the draft have been on the brand for like a month. What are you loyal to?
True.
Why
Good
am I
point.
supposed to believe that you're loyal? Oh, I'm Sasha Banks. I'm loyal to SmackDown. You've been on SmackDown for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're loyal to this brand? Rhea Ripley has been on NXT for a couple of years now. I understand why she's loyal to the brand.
Yeah.
I understand everything about that. So that's just one thing that I feel like the timing of the Saudi Arabia situation, as great as it's been for NXT, I just feel like, unfortunately, not enough time was given for me to be like, oh yeah, I totally understand why Sasha Banks is loyal to SmackDown.
Yep.
So that's really my only little issue with the whole brand supremacy.
I agree with that, and that's a fantastic point. And man, this was a fantastic show. Definitely glad to throw this out here. Once again, when you guys listen to it, it'll be 6 a.m. Monday morning, and we have a spot on this show where we always give our guests the opportunity to plug anything that they want to plug. I'm not sure if there's anything that you want to plug, Lou. If there's your social medias or anything. I know you just want to come on and have a great wrestling conversation, which I think we did, and it made for a great show. But I'll just throw it out there anyway for common courtesy. If there's anything that you want to plug, Lou, go ahead and plug it. Plug away, bro.
No, I don't have anything to plug. Obviously, everyone that's listening to the show, continue to listen to the show. I enjoy listening to it. That's why I signed up for the Patreon, and I'm just happy I was able to do this for you guys.
Oh, absolutely, man, and we really appreciate you taking your time to come on the show, being a Patreon member, man, and let's do this again, man. You're welcome on the show, and we want you to come back and have a wrestling conversation, man. So thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, without a doubt, brother.
Awesome, and Hutch, you are no stranger to this, man. So you know what time it is, man. You go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Well, don't think. First off, I'm just going to let this slide that you're going to undercut my perfect 10 vote for this NXT show, you asshole. I am not going to let that slide at all. They're all champions, Con. All of them. Now, with that being said, you guys can follow me on the Twitter. I am actually tweeting now. I don't know if you can call this a tweet storm. I don't know if that's a thing, but that was definitely the forecast as of yesterday. I actually tweeted about NXT Takeover quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, give me a follow on Twitter at HutchIYH. And, I guess I'm probably going to talk a little bit about Survivor Series, and I'll try not to be too negative. But anyway, give me a follow. We'll see how that goes. And also follow me on the Instagram and that's at Hutch in Your House. And that's spelled just like the name of the show that you're listening to right now. And you know what I always say on here, regardless of what you hear, what you boo, be it WWE, NXT, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, even though they treat their wrestlers like shit, apparently. They suck lately. We are wrestling. We are Legion. We are one. And thank you very much for listening. And I know it's Monday. It's a rough start. It's the worst day of the week, but hopefully we get you through it. And thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Absolutely. We are one. One of the great slogans of the show from my co-host, Mikey Hutch. And this was a great, great episode. Once again, thanks to our Patreon member, Lou, for coming on and doing the show, because he knows better than anybody what we do. We get all that work. So let me let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's all right. We're on Google Play. Anywhere that you guys are, we can get to you. Check us out this Saturday, November 30th, Thanksgiving Thunder. DCCW in Your House is back in the building on the commentary table. You never know what's going to happen. Guys, what are you doing? Buy a friggin' shirt. That's www.prowrestlingtees.com/in your house. Guys, it's a Black Friday sale. 10 days of Black Friday. Check it out. Get this work. Get this shirt. And guys, we tell you this all the time. Hop on this bandwagon. Get on. Or get gone. Because the household, we still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day. And a great rest of your week. And a fantastic Thanksgiving. Peace.